Hello everyone. Today we have an exclusive and shocking revelation about the coronavirus. Researcher Shan Chao from the Wuhan Institute of Virology has made some astonishing claims. This is the official profile page on the website of the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So researcher Shan Chao from the Wuhan Institute of Virology admitted to my interviewee that in February 2019, his supervisor gave him 4 strains of coronavirus and asked him to test and to find out which one had the best ability to infect as many species as possible and how easy it was to infect other species, including human. Shan Chao's team did tests on transgenic mice with human ACE2 receptors, monkeys, and ferrets. The tests were finished in May or June of 2019. Shan Chao even went as far as calling the coronavirus a bioweapon. He also mentioned that several of his colleagues went missing during the 2019 Military World Games in Wuhan. Later, one of them revealed that they were sent to the hotels where athletes from various countries were staying to check the health or hygiene conditions. Since checking hygiene doesn't require virologists, Shan Chao suspected that they were sent there to spread the virus. Furthermore, in April 2020, Shan Chao said that he was sent to Xinjiang to check the health status of the Uyghurs who were imprisoned in the re-education camps so that they could be released sooner. Once again, since conducting health checks doesn't require a virologist, he strongly implied that he was sent there to either spread the virus or to observe how the virus worked on humans. The above shocking information was disclosed to my interviewee by Shan Chao himself during the period from March to April 2020. I conducted an exclusive interview with this whistleblower, and I have published the full transcript of the 34-minute interview on my website. The interview video has been uploaded to my membership website for those who are interested to delve further into the details. I will provide the links to the transcript and the video in the description or comment section below this video. Now, let me give you a brief overview of the interview content, Shan Chao's background, and how I obtained this exclusive interview and conducted it. If you are not interested in hearing these details, you can skip ahead to read the full interview or watch the original video first, and then come back to watch the rest of my introduction. Of course, you can also finish watching my introduction first and then go on to the interview transcript or video. Shan Chao stated that in February 2019, his supervisor provided him with 4 strains of coronavirus in Nanjing City in China. He was tasked with testing the efficacy of these strains and how effectively they could infect or transmit to other species, including humans. Shan Chao conducted tests on transgenic mice with human ACE2 receptors, ferrets, and monkeys. His team completed the testing around May or June 2019. Shan Chao mentioned that he received fully completed strains, and his mission was to determine which strain could infect the most species. He explicitly stated that these strains were artificially engineered and even used the term bioweapon to describe them. Regarding the speculation about spreading the virus during the Wuhan Military World Games, it was solely Shan Chao's speculation. The only fact he knew was that several members of his team disappeared from their regular workstations during that period. Later, one of them vaguely mentioned that they were sent to hotels where athletes from various countries were staying to check hygiene. The speculation about spreading the virus was only Shan Chao's guess because checking hygiene doesn't require virologists, so he suspected they were sent there to spread the virus. However, he didn't have any evidence to support this claim. The speculation about spreading the virus in Xinjiang was also based on the whistleblower's guess. The only fact the whistleblower knows is that in April 2020, Shan Chao sent messages to him on a flight that was going to fly from Wuhan to Xinjiang. Shan Chao said that he was going to the re-education camps in Xinjiang to conduct health checks on the people there. Since conducting health checks also doesn't require virologists, the whistleblower suspected that Shan Chao was involved in something related to the virus. So that's a brief summary of the interview. Now, let's take a look at Shan Chao's background. In this article published in the column Raising the Party Flag, Unite in Fighting the Epidemic on the Wuhan Institute of Virology's website, it states that Shan Chao was born in 1985, so he should be 38 years old this year. He's a team leader in the fields of airborne virus diseases and vaccines, and in 2020, he was recognized as the Youth of the Year at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So this is a video produced by the Wuhan Institute of Virology to commend the Youth of the Year for 2020. It was released on May 29, 2020. I downloaded it from the Wuhan Institute of Virology's website and added an English translation. Shan Chao is one of the individuals featured in this video. According to the official information from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, Shan Chao obtained his PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology from the Wuhan Institute of Virology Chinese Academy of Sciences from 2010 to 2014. From March 2013 to October 2015, he worked as a research assistant at the Novartis Institute for Tropical Diseases in Singapore. From December 2015. So this is Shan Chao in that video. So I'll pause the video here. So from December 2015 to December 2019, he purchased his postdoctoral research at the University of Texas Medical Branch in the United States. Since December 2019 to now, Shan Chao has been a researcher at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and his official profile also shows that he's a doctoral supervisor. Since April 2022 to now, he has also served as the Deputy Director of the Wuhan National Biosafety Laboratory, which is the infamous Wuhan P4 Laboratory. In other words, he was promoted after the outbreak of the pandemic in 2022. For a researcher in his early 30s to become a team leader, a doctoral supervisor, and eventually the deputy director of the Wuhan P4 lab is an extraordinary achievement. Shan Chao must have strong professional abilities and is highly valued by the authorities. Additionally, During his studies at the University of Texas, his mentor was Pei Yongshi, a Chinese adjunct professor at the University of Texas. Pei Yongshi is also a guest professor at Nanjing Medical University. He is also a specially appointed researcher at the Wuhan Institute of Virology and has a direct collaboration with Qin Chengfeng from Academy of Military Medical Sciences of the PLA Academy of Military Sciences. I don't know whether the supervisor mentioned by Shan Chao, who gave him 4 strains of coronavirus in Nanjing City, is Pei Yongshi or any other person related to Pei Yongshi. However, I have gathered some information related to him, and I will list the links below the transcript of the interview for further investigation by knowledgeable individuals. Shan Chao and Pei Yongshi have published quite a few papers as co-authors too. In addition, Shan Chao has collaborated with the famous band woman Shi Zhenli and Yuan Zhiming, the director of the Wuhan P4 lab. Please refer to this article titled Major Breakthrough. Shi Zhenli, Shan Chao, Yuan Zhiming created a non-human primate model of novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. This research paper was published in Cell Research. It used the SARS-CoV-2 virus to infect rhesus macaques and studies the dynamic changes of SARS-CoV-2 in the monkey's blood swabs and respiratory tract tissues after infection, as well as the histopathological changes in the lungs. The purpose of this research was to study the pathogenesis of SARS-CoV-2 and evaluate vaccines and therapeutic agents. Now, let me explain how I obtained this shocking whistleblower information. Simply put, the whistleblower contacted me through a trusted friend of his. They provided me with a lot of evidence to prove the veracity of the whistleblower's claims. Before conducting the formal interview, I had a video conversation with the whistleblower and his friend for over 3 hours to determine whether what they were saying was reliable and whether I should interview the whistleblower. I asked him all the questions that a journalist would need to ask in such a situation, such as how he came to know Shan Chao, under what circumstances and at what time and space Shan Chao revealed such earth-shattering secrets to him, and so on. I asked almost all the questions I could think of. However, as I'm not a virologist, I could not ask more specific questions related to the virus itself. I hope I could. According to the whistleblower, after the outbreak in Wuhan, Shan Chao felt a great deal of guilt seeing people around him dying. Therefore, in March 2020, he shared with the whistleblower his involvement in testing and screening the virus transmissibility. They made an agreement that if the whistleblower lost contact with Shan Chao, it could mean something happened to Shan Chao, and the whistleblower could reveal the information that Shan Chao shared with him. The last contact between Shan Chao and the whistleblower was in April 2020. According to Shan Chao himself, he was on a plane flying from Wuhan to Xinjiang at that time. Since then, Shan Chao has not contacted the whistleblower again, and they had an agreement that only Shan Chao could initiate contact, and the whistleblower should not contact Shan Chao proactively. As the whistleblower never heard from Shan Chao again, he believed that something had happened to him, and it was time to tell the world what Shan Chao had told him. Therefore, he contacted me in August 2021. He said that before contacting me, he had also reached out to several major English media outlets, but received no response. He also tried to anonymously share information on Twitter, including mentioning Shan Chao's name, which caught the attention of some people and led to retweets and discussions. However, both his own account and a relatively large English Twitter account that actively retweeted his information were later deleted. At that time, Elon Musk has not yet acquired Twitter, and discussing the origin of the virus was prohibited. This setback left him deeply discouraged. The reason he contacted me later was that he saw that I had been constantly reporting related news, and he believed that I was a trustworthy person who wouldn't betray him to the CCP. Another significant reason was that I work as a one-person team. So he only needed to trust me. If it were a major media outlet interviewing him, his information would be exposed to the journalist, the editor, the news director, the camera person, the video editor, etc. With each additional person knowing his information, there would be an increased risk. He thought that both left-wing and right-wing media outlets could potentially be infiltrated by the CCP, and he didn't want to put his safety at risk. So he contacted me and made me promise that I would be the only person to meet him. Therefore, I conducted the interview and editing all by myself without involving anyone else. I used voice modulation for his voice and covered his face during filming, so his appearance couldn't be seen. The interview was conducted in September 2021. I must say that doing such an interview also carried certain risks for me, since I agreed to be the only one to interview him and didn't disclose this to anyone. If he turned out to be a CCP spy and I went to interview him alone, I could be in danger. Therefore, my decision to conduct the interview was based on my conversation with him and his friend, where I believed he was sincere and telling the truth, and he had no reason to fabricate this information to endanger the safety of himself and his family. He wouldn't gain anything materially from this interview. However, due to reasons that I can never disclose, I'm only releasing this interview now after nearly 2 years. I think everyone can imagine the kind of pressure both the whistleblower and I will face after this interview is published. I would like to add that although Shan Chao has not contacted the whistleblower again, it seems that he hasn't disappeared. I found a report of him attending a meeting in Hangzhou City in China in January 2022, and he even received a promotion in April 2022. The report on the experiment he conducted with Shi Zhenli and Yuan Zhiming infecting macaque was published on July 8, 2020. So my personal speculation is that in early 2020, when the pandemic had just erupted, Shan Chao, out of guilt, revealed to the whistleblower his involvement in creating biological weapons. According to the whistleblower, he was very emotional when he disclosed this information. Why didn't he contact the whistleblower again afterwards? I can only speculate that perhaps he regretted what he said in that emotional state. It's also possible that the CCP unaware that he had shared the information with the whistleblower, continued to promote him, either to reward him or to trap him, and after careful consideration, he decided to continue cooperating with the CCP. That's why he stopped contacting the whistleblower. Another detail worth mentioning is that if you read the full transcript or watch the video of the interview, you may notice that there were two incidences where I seemed to ask him leading questions. One was about his colleague going to hotels where foreign athletes stayed to check hygiene, and the other was about a book. The book in question is titled Unnatural Origin of SARS, Human Man-Made Novel Virus as Genetic Bioweapon. The book discusses eco-type genetic weapons and mentions that the purpose of contemporary genetic weapons has surpassed military applications. The fact is, during the 3-hour conversation prior to the interview, he discussed many things in Chinese, but when the formal interview in English began, he forgot to mention them. So I reminded him, as he had said before, that he would want to mention this book during the interview. Lastly, I want to emphasize that while this disclosure is shocking, it is, of course, only one side of the story. It lacks more direct and substantial evidence. Currently, I don't have the means to obtain confirmation of these allegations from other sources. However, as the whistleblower mentioned during the interview, this is just a small piece of the entire puzzle. So far, the true origin of the pandemic that has caused nearly 7 million deaths worldwide or even more is still under exploration. That's precisely why I decided to release the video and transcript of this interview, despite the pressure. I hope that virologists, intelligence agencies of various governments, relevant government officials, and lawmakers will take this disclosure seriously and use it as a lead for further investigation until the truth about the origin of the virus is uncovered. I would also like to add that, in fact, before today, I contacted several U.S. Congress members who are involved in investigating the origin of the virus, hoping to share this interview with them. However, only one staff member of the senator called me back. He asked me to send the information to an email address, which I did, but I haven't heard back since then. Furthermore, the conversations I had with the interviewee prior to the interview and all the documents he showed me were in Chinese, but the formal interview was conducted in English. The Chinese subtitles in the video and the Chinese version of the interview transcript were translated from English by me. Thank you all, and I hope that you can share this interview as widely as you can so that everyone can join us on the journey of seeking the truth. I believe that only by placing the truth in the hands of the public can it be prevented from being covered up or ignored. Once again, thank you, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, or visit my website at jenniferzengblog.com to sign up for a membership or make a donation to support my efforts. Thank you. See you next time.